Hello and welcome to National Focus. I'm Jarna Hector. Coming up, Tourism Minister highlights focus areas in the island's tourism sector, farmers to benefit from rehabilitated access road in Kahum, and Tomla 4 remembered as an outstanding cricket administrator. Stay with us for details of these and other stories when National Focus returns.
You're watching GIS.
Welcome back. The government of Dominica continues to focus on policies to promote economic growth and reduce poverty among the population. Honorable Ambrose George, who represented Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit at the 8 Banks Annual General Meeting on Wednesday, said in recent times a number of projects and programs have been implemented to achieve those objectives. The minister highlighted the housing revolution as one sterling example.
The housing revolution has had the impact of increasing activity in the construction and retail sectors, while at the same time improving the housing conditions of not only the poor and very poor, but also middle-income persons.
The minister added that recent investments in agriculture are also worthy of mention.
The investments in agriculture are intended to increase agricultural output while at the same time providing opportunities for increasing incomes in the rural communities. What is also important is that these objectives are pursued with due regard to the scarcity of resources and the need to be prudent and cautious in the use of whatever resources are available.
The minister took time to expound on these examples, suggesting that the 8 Bank may wish to pursue similar objectives and approaches and consider the general performance of the bank in that framework. In more news, despite the ever-expanding toll of the global economic crisis, the government of Dominica continues to allocate funds towards infrastructural developments on the island. Recently, Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit allocated $2 million to improve farm access roads across the country. One of the roads receiving attention under this project is the Cuba-Kahum Road in Meru. Parliamentary representative for the St. Joseph constituency, Honorable Kelva Daru, says the road, which is currently being rehabilitated, when complete, will be a blessing to the farmers of the area.
The government of Dominica is investing $157,000 to ensure the rehabilitation of this road. And this is a project that falls under the farm access roads, where the Prime Minister made available $2 million to ensure that the farmers of Dominica can have better roads to access the farms. This area is a very high production area for the farmers of the St. Joseph, Meru, even Salisbury, and as far as Cooley-Bistri communities. And here in Meru, we have the gentleman at the back of me working to ensure that we can restore the road surface.
The minister noted that this road project is a tangible manifestation of government's interest in improving the lives of farmers in the St. Joseph constituency.
The government remains committed to ensuring that we have the roads in this country of a very high standard, and that is very important, especially these farm access roads, where we have seen a number of farmers have abandoned the farms, and we want to encourage the farmers to go back to the farms, and the government is making sure that this money become available here in the St. Joseph constituency, which is one of the largest farming districts, because you would know that the St. Joseph constituency comprises of the Meru Cuba-Kahum area, the entire Lai Valley area, the Gorman area, and the Bells Wet Area region, which is very large farming areas. And we've placed tremendous emphasis to ensure that we can restore the road surfaces in these areas.
Honorable Kelva Daru confirmed that the road project has provided much needed employment for residents of the area. A contractor from the St. Joseph constituency was awarded the contract to undertake the road project. With the Christmas season now upon us, the Environmental Health Department is cautioning butchers to take all necessary precautionary measures to ensure that meat made available for public consumption is safe. Recently, meat hygiene and sanitation workshops were conducted in Roseau, Portsmouth and Marigot to further educate butchers. Chief Environmental Health Officer Anthony Scotland says these workshops were well received.
These butchers were informed on meat sanitation and meat hygiene principles, how to store, how to slaughter, how to store the meat, how to present the meat, how to themselves to prevent their own self. So that was some of the areas that we look at. So the butchers basically, I am saying that they have a knowledge on some of the basic principles, but we have limitations in Dominica in that you do not have organized abattoirs for the slaughtering of animals, and we're hoping that some of that might be solved soon with the proposed construction of an abattoir at Live Park.
The Chief Environmental Health Officer has asked that butchers exercise a high level of cleanliness in the preparation of slaughtered animals for sale. Close to the end of the year, Tourism Minister Honorable Ian Douglas has updated the nation on the status of the island's tourism industry. Minister Douglas, in speaking to the media on board the MSC Porgia on Monday, explained that priority for his ministry at this time is to continue developing Dominica's tourism products with tactics like the premium site access strategy.
Well, we continue to work on the product. Of course, you know that it's the second year that we have implemented the premium site access strategy at Trafalgar. That seems to be working very well. The cruise ships like it because it ensures revenue from tours for them without the competition from the independent operators on the ground. We continue to upgrade our infrastructure. A lot of the major roads, two of the various tourism sites and attractions have been upgraded, resurfaced and done.
Minister Douglas also mentioned the recent $84 million upgrade to the Melville Hall Airport. Also set to benefit the tourism sector is the Melville Hall Access Road project. Minister Douglas reported that work on Lot 2 of that project, which is a section of road from Port-Cassé to Marigot, is progressing smoothly. He said that although those projects are not directly under his ministry's administration, they also contribute to visitor experience. All of this, Minister Douglas continued during a global recession.
Continue to sharpen our product amidst the terrible global crisis. You know, we have the financial crisis, and one of the first industries that will feel the pinch of the global financial crisis is the tourism industry, because as persons find difficulty in finding jobs in our major source markets like the US and in Europe, where the recession is hurting, that really affects their ability to go on holidays, let alone take a cruise.
According to the tourism minister, the world economic crisis now requires each service provider on the island to do more to advance Dominica's tourism product.
We have to continue to be vigilant. We have to continue to make sure that the experience that we sell to our visitors is second to none, because after all, what we are selling is not just our geographical attributes that we have been blessed with by the Almighty, like our rivers and the water and the waterfalls, but really what we are selling is our service. And so that is why it is important for all of our people in Dominica, not just those involved in the tourism industry, but everybody, when providing a service, needs to ensure that it is a world-class service, that it can withstand the competition, because always remember that the visitor has a choice to go to other destinations rather than coming to ours. So while the Caribbean continues to be one of the more sought-after destinations, as far as particularly cruise, but tourism generally, but you have other emerging destinations that before never really offered cruise or cruising. You have Eastern Europe, Far East in Asia, Alaska, even in winter time in Europe, you have cruising right now. You have cruising in St. Petersburg in Russia. So we have to ensure that we can withstand that competition, and it boils down to us in Dominica, not just in the Caribbean, but us in Dominica, because tourism really right now is really, like I like to tell people, is the goose that lays the golden egg.
Honorable Ian Douglas told the media that $300 million was pumped into the economy from tourism in the year 2011. The Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry did its share to spread Christmas cheer on Wednesday with donations of food baskets to 6 local charitable organizations. Representing the Ministry of Agriculture was Winston McGlure, who is Technical Officer for Projects and Services. He handed over the gifts to each organization. Mr. McGlure made a few remarks about the significance of the occasion, making special note of the importance of eating local.
It is our pleasure from the point of view of the ministry to do this presentation every year. We look forward to it. And I must commend also our farmers, because a number of farmers, several farmers have contributed to the food baskets that we are going to be distributing today. We have a number of them to do. So it is a mix of produce from our agricultural stations, but it also includes the contributions of farmers of Dominica. I say this because it's important for us to understand the importance of food production in Dominica. We need to continue to produce our food as things get more difficult globally. We have increasing food prices in the world today because of the fuel and energy crisis and the financial crisis. So more and more we see that imported food is becoming more and more expensive. The second important reason for this presentation is that it is really an encouragement for us to consume our own food, the food that we produce locally. And this is important for health reasons, because there's evidence to suggest that since we have moved away from consuming the foods that we used to in the 60s, which is the yams, the dashin, the plantains, etc., we have seen a change in the kinds of health problems that we have.
The visits began with the Grotto Home for the Homeless, which houses 42 residents and hosts a soup kitchen for about 50 persons every week. President of the Grotto, Ainsworth Irish, expressed thanks on behalf of the home.
We have to say we are very thankful from the Grotto standpoint, because the Grotto is a non-profit organization, and for over the years we've been really struggling in terms of getting food and cash and kind for the residents. So we are extremely happy when the Ministry of Agriculture and by extension the government of Dominica feels fit to come in and make this contribution.
Representatives of the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry then moved on to the Dominica Infirmary, where Ali Matthew, director of the infirmary, accepted the gift.
It is always a pleasure to accept this gift at Christmas. Christmas is a time of giving, and the Ministry of Agriculture makes this donation annually. On behalf of the residents and staff of the Dominica Infirmary, we want to say a hearty thanks to the Ministry of Agriculture and all those who contributed in one way or the other to ensure that this gift reaches us now. It is a great gesture because at this time of year, Christmas is for giving, and you have made a difference for our Christmas.
The team continued bringing Christmas cheer to the Princess Margaret Hospital, the Love One Teach One Foundation, the Operation Youthquake, and Chances in Jimit. Agriculture students of the Dominica State College now have a new tool to source useful information about organic farming. Dr. Osborne Barron is the author of Field to Food, Organic versus Conventional Food, What Science Tells Us. He presented his book to the school's body. Dr. Barron, who hails from Mountain Granby, is a plant scientist with over 35 years of experience working in the field of agriculture. Dr. Barron's book highlights recently confirmed data which conclude that conventional and organic foods have similar nutrient profiles.
Organic food and conventional food are both natural foods, since it's nature, Mother Nature, that makes the food. So both of them are natural foods. So none is more natural than the other. So don't take on this thing you hear about organic food is more natural than conventional food. The method does not make it more natural. And I can explain that. Science has an explanation for that.
Dr. Osborne says his book also highlights that only natural processes produce food.
The natural process of food production is driven by genetics. It's driven by the plant genetic makeup. Every organism has a genetic makeup called a genome. The genome is the set of genes, the composition of genes that the organism has. Plants have about 20 to 30,000 genes. And each gene is responsible for every trait, every characteristic of a plant. So when you get an orange with a lot of seeds, that is determined by the genes. If you get an orange with just 2 seeds, it's also determined by a gene. So there are different genes that will code for different traits of the plant. Okay. And so is genes that will code for the amount of vitamins a plant can have, the amount of proteins that a plant of particular food will have, and carbohydrates, etc. So a cultivation method cannot increase the nutritional content of a food because the nutritional content of a food is fixed by virtue of the genetic makeup of the plant.
Dr. Osborne's book defines healthy foods as all natural foods produced by organic and conventional methods. Dean of Agricultural Science at the Dominica State College, Roy Leslie, said the new literature on organic food will prove to be useful to students in their studies.
I believe that in presenting this book to the Dominica State College is quite a well of information so that our students, biology, agriculture, and other science students can study it.
The book Field to Food presents the scientific explanation of the food production processes in layman's terms. At the same time, it serves as a useful reference material for students. The author is confident that after reading the book, one will be empowered to make sound economic, environmental, technical, and policy decisions. Finally, Sports Minister Honorable Justina Charles says the passing of Tom Lafort is indeed a big loss for the sport of cricket in Dominica. Lafort, a prominent businessman and sports administrator, died at the Princess Margaret Hospital on Tuesday, December 18th. Honorable Charles, the Sports Minister, remembers Lafort as an individual who made a meaningful contribution to the sport of cricket in Dominica.
This is a big void for us, a big loss. And because Tom, we know, has been really a sports enthusiast, but more specifically related to cricket. And Tom really made a meaningful contribution to the development of cricket. And what is more interesting is the way that he worked with the young people. And he was not just interested in their cricket career, but he was interested in their total well-being. I know he worked with some people in terms of even their academic achievements, ensuring that they pursue their academic goals. And he assisted them financially and otherwise, and mentored some of our young men into cricket and other aspects of their development. And for us and for all of those who he worked with, we know it's really a painful loss for us at this time.
Minister Charles had the privilege of working with Tom in his capacity as chairman of the Stadium Management Board. The sports minister described his work as exemplary.
I am happy that I had time to work with Tom as the chairman of the Stadium Board of Management Board. And even in October, when he was reappointed as the chairman, he never had an opportunity to serve. But even in his physical absence, he ensured he still called to make sure that things were going on. And Tom was the person who would ensure that everything in the stadium went right. And more so during the times that we hosted our matches, he was exemplary. And Tom would ensure that everything was in order. And if something would not go right and you would call on Tom, he would be at your beck and call to ensure that everything went smoothly. And I know for us, it's really a big void. And I want to say to Mrs. Lafont, who was at the time my permanent secretary, so that really cemented the relationship that I had with Tom. As a person in the sports division, in the sports arena, and as a member of the board, and with his wife as the permanent secretary of that same ministry that I am heading, we cemented that relationship. And one of the things that I'm happy about is that Tom knew how I felt about his contribution.
Tom Lafort, the husband of former permanent secretary in the Ministry of Education, Jennifer Lafort, was the island manager of Tropical Shipping and the former manager of the Windward Islands cricket team. He is the father of well-known Barbados-based Dr. Jeffrey Lafort. And that's the English segment of the news. Stay tuned for the Creole highlights with McPherson St. Luce.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle Creole. Non, moi c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, les bons partis de Dominica célébrent 3 années depuis la grande victoire élection l'année 2009. si le député chef parti là, Honorable Ambrose George, parti là qui en gouvernement qui met attention à ce développement monde. Il y a aussi mené Jewte Noël, bah plusieurs monde.
C'est troisième année depuis l'élection en 2009. Si vous voyez, si vous voyez qui parti même dans low profile, parce que nous sentons que Dominicain en pays avec l'autre place, ils sentent que le gouvernement a performé. Valet développement nous a mené en pays depuis nous venons au gouvernement. Ça c'est là pour tout le monde voir. So, pour l'année ça, quand l'année a venu au bout, nous décidons pour focus pour le monde. Ces enfants pour Noël, nous avons des cadeaux, nous avons parti par à toutes ces constituencies. Nous avons aussi gardé ces elderly. Nous avons un package, ça nous joint, ça nous abat avec pour santé qui aussi un bon Noël. Nous occuper ces gens-là qui travaillent pour jouer une année pour certains qui nous ici Dominique. So, en réponse, nous pour certains qui ont aussi un bon Noël. So, nous avons focus sur ce monde pour bout l'année. Avec nous avons 2013 pour continuer tout le travail là nous avons fait. Travail pour Yes You Care, travail pour Housing Revolution, travail pour tourisme, pour éducation, geothermal qui launch l'année qui vient. Nous avons continué infrastructure development à Chimé, Melville Hall Airport. Nous avons continué State House construction là, avec State College là, avec tous ces autres travaux nous avons fait. Nous avons continué, nous avons mené bagaille neuf en année aussi. So, nous tenions une bonne année en 2012. Nous avons boot, nous avons l'année neuf pour continuer le travail pour développer le monde et le pays ensemble.
En la nouvelle, la Banque Dominique tient pour $1 million pour l'année financière qui sortait venir au bout. Parole cela sorti au chairman banque là Martin Charles pendant banque là tient bon idiom à yo mercredi. Charles fait parole que l'année là venir au bout et puis achievement qui bien formidable en histoire institutionnelle. Il dit yo pour être on lot monde l'argent ça a créé disbursements en ces 40 années là depuis banque là qui existé. Charles aussi fait parole qui achievement ça là tombé en bas plan 5 l'année ailleurs. Ça a créé un strategic plan opération banque salaire. En même temps aussi, ministre Information Honorable Ambrose George, qui représente le premier ministre Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt, qui est assez monde qui porte l'argent à la banque là pour tenir commitment à PFW, conseil gouvernement Dominique, qui a garanti loan par banque salaire. En la nouvelle, ministre Sport Honorable Justina Charles, qui a fait parole la peine pour ancien chef stadium Windsor Park et puis nom sport défunt Tom Lafont. Lafont qui passait plus bonheur semaine salam, qui a autant changé pour dédication en affaires sport en Dominique.
Avec les montagnes, Tom mort, pour moi assise avec mon kakachile, mon garder Tom en stadium là. Moi try garder comment il était qu'à vivre. Avec mon pas à quoi, un homme en quitté, un homme qui te plein la vie, un homme qui fait contribution en développement sport et plus en cricket. Nous savons Tom travaille avec stadium board là, il était manager stadium board, chairman manager as chairman board là. Avec moi ça pas longtemps il était en le board là. Tom fait tout ça ITP pour make sure tout bitin en stadium là travaille bien. Avec ça moi apprécié plus contre lui, c'est là où nous ni match, nous ni test match. Tom depuis nous commençons à préparer juste un dernier bol la batte avec appui pour make sure nous préparer pour d'autres matchs. Et si bitin pas ka courir quand il supposé avec qui est Tom qui est là pour make sure tout bitin ka travaille. So nous ça pour nous perdre un homme comme ça en sport, nous perdre ça sont gros tout macque n'importe monde ça plein. Mais ça nous a dit merci pour ça il fait, merci pour la vie et nous ça consoler nous because nous ça il fait ça a été supposé faire pour aider développer Dominique. Et c'est ça nous qui en tout le monde pour faire.
Et puis finalement, le département Environnement Santé travaille bien formidable pour combattre la maladie leptospirosis en Dominique. Parole Sala, sorti au chef département environ santé Dominique Anthony Scotland.
Nan ça nous teni sec moun qui tombe malade avec leptospirosis, yo tué yo paté personne pas mort. Et Dominique là nan là qui passé nous teni 29 moun te malade avec leptospirosis, et 10 moun mort. So nous faire un pile travail dans ça. Et nan qui passé pour nettoyer environnement. Et nous ka garder nous ka wè result là. Nous faisons un pile travail à éducation moun enfants, farmers. Nous parler avec tous différents groupes différents comités.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelle en créole pour à présent. Non, moi c'est McPherson Saint-Luce. Quand vous tout le monde en bon saison Noël. Au revoir.
Thank you, McPherson. Are you curious about the health benefits of green tea? We'll tell you more in our upcoming tip of the day. The health benefits of green tea make it a good beverage for treating cancer, heart problems, cardiovascular diseases, high cholesterol levels, rheumatoid arthritis, infections, tooth decay, and a myriad of other health issues. This is because green tea contains an antioxidant called EGCG, and the nutrients in green tea triggers contraction in muscles and tissues, which tones up muscle and skin. And that's a national focus. As usual, we invite your suggestions or comments. Please feel free to drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website at news.gov.dm. Look us up on our GIS Dominica pages on both YouTube and Facebook. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Jarna Hector. Thank you for watching.